And Chief Sequoia was one of the greatest trackers that had ever been in the Tuatha Laval tribe. And so White Wolf was just furiously whipping this horse as hard as he could, whipping, and every time he let that lash fall on the hindquarters of that horse, he hit running water. Every time. And she was tied up, and her mouth was gagged, and he was just so enraged, whipping her. There's blood, just this trail of blood. So Chief Sequoia, when he started heading east, using his skills, started at the point that White Wolf had kidnapped Running Water and followed. And eventually, he saw that blood trail. And he started to fear the worst because there was a lot of blood. To the point where he didn't think that any human could have that much blood in them. And so he began to despair. And finally, he got to the east side of the basin that they were in, to the caves. And as they came up to the caves, they jumped off their horses and followed the trail up. And they finally came to this one cave. And as they're coming up, Chief Sequoia noticed something. In the ground, on the way up to the cave, where the horse's footprint stopped, what he saw, and they had found, by the way, they had found the horse dead. Okay, so the horse had died out from underneath White Wolf. Let me wake whoever that is up. They found, White Wolf had basically killed this horse. Whoever the counselor is over there. Thank you. Go ahead and turn the light off. Thanks. They'd seen White Wolf kill that horse, which meant he took Running Water and ran up into the caves with her over his shoulder. So as he followed up, he noticed where the hoof prints from the horse stopped. There was a moccasin print and a paw print. And a moccasin print and a paw print. And he thought it was really, really weird. That maybe White Wolf had gotten, had tamed a wolf or something like that. So he followed this track up in the trail of blood, and they got to the entrance of this cave, and they couldn't see the back. Okay, there was a little pinpoint of light that was coming down, but it was the back of the cave was further back than that. It's a hole in the roof where the light would come down. So he knew White Wolf was behind that. And Chief Sequoia, he got out his axe, and he told his lieutenants, "So you stay here. I'm going to go take care of this." Okay? He disappeared into the cave. These lieutenants standing out there, these warriors, these braves, waited. And they waited. And they waited. And finally, when they couldn't wait anymore, they started to sneak up to the mouth of this cave. It was silent. Everybody be quiet. Don't move. You know how quiet it is out here? It's that quiet. No animals, no sounds, no nothing. As they got closer, they got to the mouth of the cave, and they started to step in the shadows. And their eyes began to adjust. And as their eyes adjusted, all of a sudden they saw move into the light. It was White Wolf. But White Wolf was half man and half wolf. And in each one of his hands, he held a head of Running Water and of Chief Sequoia. And he held the heads out, and he howled. And the Indian braves were terrified. They'd never seen anything as frightening. And they knew that if he had killed Chief Sequoia that easily, they'd be no contest. And so they ran, and they got back on their horses, and they rode their horses as fast as they could back to the village. And they told all the rest of the Tuatha Laval Indians what had befallen their beloved chief and their beloved Running Water. And the Indians decided to leave this area early that season and go down. And they left, followed the river down and out. And as the years went along, And the Indians came back. They never had anybody that was able to lead them the way Chief Sequoyah was, so their numbers dwindled. And when they came back to the area that they were, or that this had all happened, more and more odd stuff started happening. You know, they'd find game, rabbits and deer and mountain lions and stuff like that, you know, with their bellies ripped open or their throats ripped out. And every time, next to it, they'd find a moccasin print and a paw print, and a moccasin print and a paw print. And they knew who it was. It was White Wolf. And he began to haunt these woods. And they knew that it was no longer safe to be there. And so they left. Never came back. And from that point on, the Tabottle of all Indians began to dwindle, and their numbers died off. Until finally, about the mid-1900s, the tribe ceased to exist. To this day, I believe there's only one person alive, and I don't even know if she's still alive because she was like 90 years old when I was hearing the story, spoke the Tabottle of all language. White Wolf was the end of the Tabottle of all tribe. And as I heard this story, and I sat back in my chair, and I was leaning forward, and I realized that I had, when you get into something or whatever, like a scary movie or like a really good movie or something like that, you like tense up, and then, when it's over, you kind of sit back and you realize that your muscles are all sore from just being so into it. That's how I felt. I sat back, and I felt exhausted from hearing the story. And I started thinking about it, and I said, Bear Brown, the place you're describing, where is it? Because it sounded familiar. It's all around, caves to the east, 3 creeks that ran through the middle of it, deer, acorns, anything that you could possibly want. And he said, this place actually is in just south of the Golden Trout Wilderness. It's called the Lloyd Meadow Basin. And I sat back, and I said, so the summer camping area where the Tabottle of all Indian tribe lived was the Lloyd Meadow Basin. And he nodded his head and said, yep. He said, as a matter of fact, I believe if you go out there still to this day, you can see their grinding holes and the signs of them living there. A lot of you guys, your nature hikes and stuff like that, you went off to the west and you saw the grinding holes over there. Okay, there's some more down over here, back further. The Needles, Twin Peaks, Castle Rock, Hermit's Peak, and the caves, past Zombie Lakes. This is the same area that the Tabottle of all Indians lived in. And so I was like, wow, it's a great story, but like I was kind of nervous and, I didn't know how to feel about it. I wrote my report and delivered it, and I got an A. The teacher thought it was amazing that I had managed to track down this information and talk about this Indian tribe, and that this kind of research, that I had done this at, was a sophomore or junior in college. Usually grad students do stuff like that. So I knew from that point on, this is what I wanted to do. Also, I love this place. I love camp. I love this area. I'd give anything for this place. Okay? And a lot of your counselors feel the same way. Okay, and I make a lot of sacrifices to make sure that this place works and runs and whatnot. And back in that time, I was just a counselor. I was young, a couple summers out. I was about ready to be the Lion Meadows director, and I gave up a couple weekends and a week out after my finals were done, before camp opened, to come up here and help open up camp. So I came up with Shotgun and Billy Bear, and was going to spend some time up here, sort of recovering from school and helping to set everything up. Okay, and as I started my summer, as I came up here, I couldn't stop thinking about the story of White Wolf and about the Tabottle of all Indians. And one day I was sitting out right in front of the outcome team. You guys know, your counselors sit, sometimes you guys sit over there by the weight area, watch everybody play, Braveheart or whatever. So that's where I was sitting. I was just thinking, there's still some snow on the ground and whatnot, but it was looking like it was going to be a warm summer. And some of you guys weren't able to meet him. The fires had everything closed down and stuff like that. Or all of you guys, sorry, hadn't been able to meet him. The counselors know who he is. But there's a rancher out here that runs cattle named Jack Shannon. And as I'm sitting there, I see Jack Shannon right across the street. And, you know, we're friendly enough with him, but, you know, sometimes his cowboys aren't the most gracious or nice people. And you know, he kind of runs his cattle, you know, into camp sometimes. And, you know, so it was really weird for him to just ride across the creek like that. You know, but he came in and he looked distressed. He was on his horse. And, you know, he said, hey, you know, is Shotgun here, or Billy Bear here? And I said, yeah, absolutely. Jack, just a second, let me call him on the radio. So I called Shotgun and Billy Bear. I told him Jack Shannon wanted to talk to him. And so we all three of us went up, and he got off his horse, and he said, you know, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm kind of at my wit's end. It's happened a few times, and I want to show you guys something. I've never seen the like of it out here. And so, you know, we followed him, and got on our horses and followed Jack. And I took my radio, bottle of water, and my rifle, an old 30-30 Winchester, you know, the lever action rifles. I have one of those, and I was a gift, but I have a holster for my saddle. So when I ride, I have my 30-30 at my side. And I got up on horses, and horse, I don't even know if he's still there. Popcorn is the horse I used to always ride. He's still there. So I used to ride Popcorn back when he was younger. Got up on him and followed Jack out. And we got out to where the area he was talking about, and he said there. And I noticed there was this cow. It was like off on its side. It was laying down there, and it didn't look like it was breathing. It was dead. It was. I said, you know, what's weird about that, Jack? Don't you lose cattle? You know, mountain lions up here, bears, you know, whatever. He said, yeah, that's the thing. I've never seen anything like this before. Go look at the cow, and tell me what you think. And so Shotgun and Billy Bear and I walked over, and we walked around the cow, and we realized that the cow had been ripped from throat all the way down to belly, just ripped open. Okay, gut spilled out or whatever. The thing was, nothing had been eaten. When a mountain lion grabs something in the throat and claws its stomach, it leaves these rake marks and stuff like that. It spills its gut, but then the mountain lion eats it. Why would the mountain lion kill something if it, you know, whatever? So I was like, yeah, that is weird, you know. Normally, you get a bear or something like that they're going to drag the body away. You probably will never find it, and even if you do, it's going to be half-eaten by the time you get to it. And I was kind of standing back, and Shotgun and Billy Bear were talking to Jack. And I was looking around, and I noticed something next to the body of the cow. It was a moccasin print and a paw print. And I started to freak out. A moccasin print and a paw print. And there's a trail leading off into the woods. And I kind of sat back, and I hadn't told Shotgun and Billy Bear about what I had discovered. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to seem like I was superstitious, or, you know, obviously I just heard the story a few weeks before, and it was fresh in my mind, and I, you know, the areas that was supposed to be in, so now I'm seeing things. You know, it probably doesn't even look like a paw print and a moccasin print. You know what I mean? It looks like a raccoon or something. You know, like, that's what I told myself. But I couldn't get that nagging suspicion out of my head. And so we all told Shotgun, or I told Shotgun and Billy Bear. Sorry, this is the part where the story gets a little weird. I told Billy Bear and Shotgun that I wanted to check something out. And you know, he just a sec, I gotta collect my thoughts real fast. Give me a second.